Hey my friends, how's it going? It's Ultimus, and it has been a hot minute since we have done a patch notes video. One of the biggest things about Legion has been with how insanely difficult it is to keep up with some of the news coming out quickly. At least for myself, with everything going on, just kind of in my life outside of YouTube and stuff like that, it has been difficult to keep up with a lot of the news and the changes. But that doesn't mean we're done, and we're not at least going to try at least this time. So we have patch 7.2.5 coming out this coming Tuesday. That is going to be June 13th. After maintenance, of course, on Tuesday. So I figured we'd have some fun and mess around with talking about some patch notes. So what we're going to talk about today is Time Walking Black Tempo, the new scenario, some new events, obviously pet battle stuff, some new Dark Moon Fair stuff. I'm going to skip the class changes because, as you can see, that's just way too much to talk about in one video. And I wouldn't know what half of the stuff is personally because I don't play half these classes. So I would really only know how to talk about, warriors and demon hunters and a little bit on death knights right now, since my horde death knight just got bumped up to 110 the other night. I will talk about some of the warrior changes in a different video, and maybe legendaries in a different video as well. But that's pretty much it. And then I'll also talk about the new heirlooms that are going to be coming as well. We got some new heirlooms and things like that coming with the patch, which is very, very cool. I will say before we get any further, of course, with all of this going on, the PvP season is ending soon as well. So to my fellow PvPers out there, for those of you that are good enough and have a team to be pushing for any kind of title, whether it's rival, challenger, gladiator, rank 1 glad, all that stuff, best of luck to you with your queues, with your push, and everything going into that. So first and foremost, talking about the meat and potatoes now, we're going to talk about new heirlooms. Now, all of the info that I have on new heirlooms is on the Wowhead page, but it is being extremely laggy tonight because my ad blocker isn't working. So, we're going to see if I can recall all this in the melon and make all of this happen. Basically, there are new heirlooms being added, which are going to be bumping your total bonus XP earned while leveling up to 55%. And it looks like the tokens that upgrade your heirlooms even farther to 110 are going to be costing gold. So, a nice alternative to a gold sink for those of us that have a little gold to throw around and are kind of just sitting on it with nothing else to do. Or if you're just really all about leveling and you want to make sure that you have everything situated as you'd like it to give you the quickest leveling experience possible. But it is important to note that these do scale to 110 now. So this should be very, very interesting. Combining that with some of the Legion invasions going on around the Broken Shores and everything like that. And all those, that was pretty much how I leveled my Death Knight. I pretty much leveled my Unholy Death Knight. I completed Stormheim, and I did Asuna, and that was it. That was literally the only zones I did. Everything after that was the XP from the mission table, and then Legion invasions. So that combined with the new heirlooms, of course, and heirlooms scaling up to 110 now, I think that's going to be huge. So actually leveling up characters is going to be a little bit easier, which will be nice. Still, obviously, doesn't soften the artifact knowledge blow and just artifact grind for all of that, but I suppose it's a start. Still, fingers crossed for account-wide artifact knowledge, because that's just insane. So that's coming. There are a couple new rings coming in as well, which is going to be good. And then some interesting new pieces of heirloom bits that are coming is going to be maps. There's maps for each of the continents, it looks like. So there's like the ones for Kalimdor, the ones for Eastern Kingdoms, and stuff like that, that allow you to unlock the flight points that you may or may not have missed. So that's a thing. Kind of cool. I dig it, especially for those who pretty much level through dungeons. Like nowadays, you pretty much level by doing dungeons. You queue dungeons constantly. Like you quest in the background while you're, waiting for your queue to pop, but depending on what bracket you're in, those queues pop really fast, and so before you know it, you've already, after one, sometimes two dungeons tops, you've already out leveled that zone and you're on to the next one. So you never really finish everything. Flight points are missing, and then just getting around the world, the old world at least, is a bit of a chore. So adding these maps, I think, to the game is a very, very good thing. Features that we have in front of our faces right now, that we have new time walking raid, essentially. Now this is a huge deal. This is huge. I feel like some of us saw this coming eventually when we started seeing time walking dungeons. But the testing of the water with this was definitely with the Molten Core event that came out for a while. It was the 11th anniversary, I think it was. Quote me if I'm wrong. I think it was 11th or 10th, but I'm pretty sure it was 11th. Basically, you queued LFR style 40 people into Molten Core, and you went in and It was a crap show. Oh, it was a ton of fun, but it was a crap show, man. My friend, my friend, the Grunkle Spooner Zaito, or Zekel, I should say, as you've seen him in a couple videos, we queued into it together, and there were 2 druids in the raid that were literally cycloning mobs just to troll the raid, so we couldn't go any farther, and that happened pretty much almost every trash pull, and I'm not exaggerating. So we had stuff like that, people not knowing mechanics, etc., etc. Pretty much went about as well as we expected it, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm actually looking forward to time walking now that some of this has been polished up a little bit. I'd like to think that Blizzard has more or less a decent idea of what to do, how to tune with a full raid. It's going to be 10 to 30 players. Of course, the Molten Core one was 40. Asmongold himself actually did a very, very good review, a very honest and genuine review of the Black Temple via the PTR that he did. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you have not checked it out already. Obviously, he doesn't need me promoting him at all. Dude's huge. He's pretty much the go-to source for any kind of like WoW content news, more or less, depending on obviously what you're into. But if you have not checked that out or you don't know who he is, I highly recommend. Like I said, he did a really good review of the whole thing, what he liked about it, what he didn't like about it, and of course what could be changed, etc., etc. So overall, I am very excited about it. Partly because I am alting a Demon Hunter, so that means Warglaze of Azeroth for me. I'm excited. We're like really excited. So yeah, that's a thing. And of course the gear on it, it's everything like that. It's a cool raid to start, especially given where we're at with Legion. And it's one of the most popular raids of all time. It had possibly and arguably the best build up to it story-wise and getting into it. Like if you followed the lore for it, if you were just playing to like, just, okay, go here, do this, do that, sweet, and then just raid, kill boss, get loot, done. It doesn't really matter to you a whole lot, and so at that point, your favorite raid is going to boil down to aesthetics probably, and boss fights. But for the few of us that do love the lore and the build up to everything, the Black Temple arguably had the best build up story wise and quest wise to actually getting in there and kicking down the door and taking the fight to Illidan. So that was cool. So I'm looking forward to going back in and having a good time with it. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything changing on the PTR. In order to queue for the time walking version of Black Temple, you actually have to fly to the Black Temple itself with your party and queue up that way. So expect to be using the group finder a little bit for that and taking a trip back out to Outland. So that's a thing. Should be a good time though. Like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to it. There's going to be an all-new scenario, which is using some time-twisting powers of the Bronze Dragonflight to help Chromie prevent her own assassination. So that sounds like fun. I like little stuff like this. Stuff that I'll probably do once or twice, depending on the reward for it. And just have fun with it. Like, it's just kind of fun to have some alternative stuff to kind of fill in some time and just goof off with. Like, I like quirky little things like this in the game. It's the stuff that kind of takes me away from the grind and just the normal... the gotta do checklist kind of thing that we have sometimes with WoW. If you're a semi-casual to a serious player in there, it's easy to kind of fall into the checklist mentality. So stuff like this is kind of fun because it gives you something different to do off the beaten path. So looking forward to checking this stuff out. I enjoyed the scenarios when they were introduced them in Mist of Pandaria, and I enjoy the little scenarios you get at the end of Legion Invasion. So don't see any reason why I wouldn't enjoy this. And then we have some new events coming. Trial of Style. Bloodhounds have teamed up with the Ethereal Transmogrifiers and put on a Grand Azerothian fashion tournament. It would be those two. Compete against 5 other players to determine who's the best dresser. So basically, what, again, this is going to sound like a total like sellout mode here. Shameless, like weird, I don't know, love letter. But Asmongold, basically what Asmongold's been doing at the end of his streams pretty much every night where he does his transmog contest. But this is like a whole in-game mode. So this is kind of cool. From what I've seen from it, it looks really cool. Like there's a theme that's put out, and you have to do your best to put stuff on and do all that to, match the theme, and then people vote for it, and then that's it. So basically American Idol-ish for World of Warcraft. Take it again, random stuff to do. It's cool. I like it. Moonkin Festival, a wondrous celebration full of all things Moonkin is happening in Moonglade. Stop by and see what you can learn. So, a little bit of boomy love there. Auction House Dance Studio. The main auction houses in Orgrimmar and Stormwind have been cleaned out and turned into dance parties for the day. Crowd in and show some faction pride. So, there you go, kids. Been waiting for Dance Studio since Wrath of the Lich King. There it is. Now we can stop complaining. Except we won't, because we're WoW players. We complain about everything. The Great Gnomeregan Race. The gnomes, they run. So again, this is insane to me because this to me shows how the culture of gaming has changed, and literally how Twitch and YouTube have changed everything for video games. Everything. The running of the gnomes was an event that was hosted and run by players, right? For years. Sorry, my elbows are resting on my desk. That's everything shaking. I probably shouldn't do that. But it was hosted by players for years. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it by Elvine? I know it was a player-run event, but this is like an in-game thing now. Like, this is something that Blizzard is implementing into the game as an actual function. Like, that's insane to me. Moving on to patch notes, Pet Battle Dungeons. So Pet Battle Dungeons are a thing now. They're introducing the Dead Mines. So take you and your battle pets to stop what's going on inside the Dead Mines. Speak to Brianni? We're going to go with Brianni. In Dalaran to begin the quest requires completion of Pet Battle Dungeon Wailing Cavern. So, if you have yet to complete that, now is the time to do it. If you're all about that life, I, for one, just never been into pet battles. I still can't get into them. If I'm going to do that, I feel like I'm going to go play Pokemon. I'd rather do that. Darkmoon Fair rocks. The Forsaken band Blightboar has invaded Darkmoon Fair every hour and the half hour, or every hour on the half hour. Interesting. The battle will rock out with a death metal tune. Battle the Metal Knight to earn achievements, consumables, and a monthly chance at a brutal helm or killer guitar mace. These actually do look kind of cool. So this is basically what looks like an axe guitar model thing. So I dig that, very Death Knight-ish. But I could see lots of classes using it. The Paladin is going to be all over this. And then we do have the metal helmet there, which not exactly my style, but I could see why people would like this stuff. It's cool looking. I just don't know if I'd ever wear it on anything but an undead character, if I'm going to be completely frank with you, but that's okay. Either way, it's a very unique model for a helmet, and I think stuff like this is good to add to the game just in general. Because it does show some creativity, and we probably should zoom off of that and not look at that anymore because there's nipples showing. So a couple other things as we wrap up this video. There are some pretty significant changes coming to Mythic Pluses as well. Just go through these really quick. So there's a little bit of an overhaul for patch 7.2.5. The scaling of dungeons will be increased from 8% health and damage to 10% per level. Completing a dungeon will reward 2 pieces of loot as a base. 1 bonus piece of loot will be earned for completing the dungeon on time. A stacking 40% chance to get an additional piece of loot will be given for each keystone level above 15. And e.g. at level 20 you'll be guaranteed 4 pieces of loot plus an additional piece if you beat the timer. So a little bit of incentive there to run level, higher than the keystone level 15s. And this is probably the biggest change, at least in my eyes. Keystones can no longer be depleted and can be deleveled. So now instead of a keystone being depleted if you do not finish the run on time, i.e. if someone leaves because they think you guys suck or suddenly their internet connection goes out, your key is no longer depleted, but instead it goes down a level. So I think this is a little bit of a softening of the blow on that, because on one end there needs to be some consequence to it, because this is serious stuff and you can get some really good loot out of this, and so it needs to be high risk high reward kind of thing, or as close to that as we can get. But there is a unfortunate reality that some people are just douchebags and will try to screw you over. So it's hard and it's a tough situation, but I think this might be the best way to kind of make those two balance out somehow. So there's that. Completing a dungeon on time will work the same way as in 7.2. You'll get a keystone for a random dungeon that's 1 to 3 levels higher. If you don't complete the dungeon on time, you'll get a new stone for a random dungeon that's 1 level lower. If you complete the dungeon at all, you'll get a new keystone for the same dungeon that is 1 level lower. Or if you don't complete the dungeon at all. So there's that. And then one last note too on this for the Black Temple time walking. What's interesting here about this regarding the Warglaives of Azeroth that you can get for your Demon Hunter, it says all the regular drops from Black Temple will be available at the Legion relevant item level, including pets. Additionally, if you want to transmog a Demon Hunter's Glaives to Warglaive of Azeroth, you have to earn the achievement I'll hold these until you get out. So defeat Illidan during the Black Temple time walking after completing the Warglaives of Azeroth achievement. By defeating Time Walking Illidan. So there's that. So apparently you have to own your original set of Warglaives of Azeroth in order to get the transmoggable ones, or the appearance for that. Interesting stuff. I know I have the achievement. I have my Warglaives on both my warriors, so I'm not too worried about this, but this is a very interesting thing to have. I think it does keep the purity and kind of the sacredness in a weird way of like the old school legendaries, in the sense of like, look, I have these. Not everybody has these. People who worked for them back in the day, or people that are willing to put in time for runs now have them. Obviously, having them now isn't as special as seeing someone back in the day with them. But I think it does reserve just a little bit of the purity, because it's like, if you're not willing to put the time in to run Black Temple, then you just don't get it. So it is what it is. I don't think it's that big of a deal personally. And then last but not least, the Deaths of Chromie will award ensembles of gear for transmogs. So that's kind of cool. But all in all, I am honestly excited about the patch coming out on Tuesday. Obviously, it's obviously not as large of a patch as 7.2 was and anything before it, but we're kind of leading up to some more of the stuff as well. So with that, of course, Tomb of Sargeras will be opening up normal, I believe, in Heroic first, and then slowly after that, Mythic and LFR as well, LFR being the last. But interesting to see how the new legendaries will play out. We'll talk about that in a different video, and some other things that are coming up, as well as, of course, class changes. I want to talk about Warriors and Demon Hunters. Some of these probably won't get out until after 7.2 comes out anyways, obviously, because I've only got a couple days before that, and I typically don't put videos out on Sunday. Although, if I can find the time to make it happen, I probably will make an exception this time around. We'll see, because at this point, I feel like with how life schedule has been, I don't have the time and the ability, the free time to record every day and get a video out every day. So I might need to just bite the bullet and get a video out whenever I can afford the time to. So we'll find out. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me, especially those of you guys that are sticking around with me. If you enjoyed the video and the content here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Would love to see you around more. Leave me a comment. Say hey. Would love to hear from you guys and talk with you guys. Totally butchering this outro, but you know what? It's okay. You can totally tell I don't do this every day anymore. It's getting bad. It's getting bad. We got to abort. We're just going to hit close now. We're done. But you can find me on a couple different social media platforms. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. There's a Facebook page as well. Definitely more active on Instagram and Twitter as well. But the more people we get on Facebook, the more active I'll be there as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.